thoughts on focusing on one social media versus trying to be every place at the same time. So when it comes to social media, there's a couple things to keep in mind. It's going to vary from person to person, business to business, and audience to audience. You should be where your audience is. So depending on what you do, you need to find where your audience is. If they're not hanging out on Instagram and all you're doing is posting on Instagram, you got a problem. If your audience is on TikTok, but you're one of those stubborn people who says, I'm not going to be on TikTok, and you're missing your audience, that's a problem. Now, I am a firm believer that you should be every place possible. And I know some people stress about this and people feel like they're going to get burned out over this. If you cannot make the time and effort for something, you shouldn't do it. But there are really easy ways to take the content and the things that you're already creating and doing and put them in other locations. So I create a ton of content for a ton of different platforms for all of my businesses, and I help people do all these things. I can take the things that I'm doing and I can just mix up how I do it a little bit. So if you follow my social media, you will see I do put TikToks on Instagram, on YouTube as well, but I typically do them at different times. Sometimes they're at the same time if it's a time-sensitive thing, or if I just am testing things. You might see me on my platform do things at the same time just to test, but you can take all that short-form content and put it on all the different platforms. Yesterday, we announced that YouTube has a brand new announcement where they are now allowing us to take our short-form vertical content called Shorts on YouTube. That's your TikToks and your Instagrams, but the YouTube version. And starting in early 2023, they're allowing us to monetize it. We can get paid for it, whether or not you're using music, because they are covering the license of a lot of the music. So we are going to start being able to monetize that content. If you're making content for TikTok, and I know that you are, you can and should be taking that same content that you're filming and drop it onto YouTube. You can drastically build up your YouTube channel. And as you're building up a YouTube channel, you then have the potential to monetize the shorts starting next year if you qualify. But because you're building up that part of your platform, you can also do longer videos. Now, your specific content, I know that you're highly educational with your content. You are somebody who educates authors on how they can be writing public safety things and law enforcement things in a really easy and authentic capacity. You have the ability to keep creating your short form content and to build up your TikTok, but also to take that and put it on YouTube in shorts form. This is going to help you grow your YouTube channel, and then you can make longer videos, more in-depth videos. You can explain things. You can do all sorts of things. I've got tons of ideas for you. Please come talk to me. But that content, the longer content, is going to be highly monetized for you. You can make really good money on YouTube simply by continuing what you're already doing from your TikTok channel and adding a little bit over to your YouTube channel. That could be a really good side hustle for you. So you can take what you're already doing and put it in multiple locations. One thing that I really recommend doing is, if you do have multiple locations, and I hope you do because your audience, your specific audience, will be everywhere, you can take the content you're doing and just put it on different days. So if you dropped a video today on TikTok, put that video on your Instagram page in 3 or 4 days. And then a week from today, put it on your YouTube channel. Put it on different days. You're going to hit a different audience. If you can space it out even more, that's great too, because your audience will forget. In fact, right now, my little sister is a mommy influencer. I did that. I pulled her into TikTok. I made her do it. And she took a really cool series she did on a breast pump for nursing. And she did like a multiple part series here on TikTok, and it went really, really well. Months later, she is now putting that over on Instagram, where it is seeing a brand new audience. People have forgotten things and tips and tricks that she's shared. So the same audience can see it and resonate with it in a new way, but a brand new audience is also getting access to it. So even if you watch my platforms, I'll take content that I filmed a couple months ago, a year ago, and reuse it on social media. The only place you're not going to reuse content is on YouTube, because it's searchable, because Google and YouTube are taking all those old things into consideration and still serving it up. I have videos from like 2 years ago that are still being served to people daily. You don't have to do it on YouTube, but on TikTok, sometimes it kind of loses its life a little bit and it dies down. And if you put it back on, you're going to do really well. So right now, I'm starting to see a resurgence of content I filmed last fall. Fall-based content is getting kicked out in the algorithm system and shown to people because it's fall. They know it's fall because they know it's going to be shown to people who are doing fallish things. I'm also taking that content I did last fall, and I'm not bothering to refilm it. I am just putting it back out on TikTok because people in that year are going to forget about it. So take the content you're making and you can expand it, you can make it smaller, you can tweak how you're doing it, and you can put it on various platforms. But I highly recommend you spend whatever time you have available on as many platforms as possible. Don't burn yourself out, don't be where your audience isn't, but know where your audience is, and whether you like it or not, lean into the platforms where your audience are, because if you're trying to make money on social media, if you're a brand, you need to be where your audience is. So I highly recommend spending your time in as many places as possible. That doesn't mean you have to spend an hour a day on it. Remember, I teach you how to make content in under 5 minutes, start to finish. Ideas, scripting, filming, editing, posting, all of it in under 5 minutes. So if you're spending more than a couple of minutes on social media a day for business purposes, you're doing something wrong. Let me help you. Go to my YouTube channel, go to my website. I've got tons of free resources and some paid stuff as well, so that you can get coaching, or I can give you actual scripts so you can do things. Like, I got it all. I've got you covered. We're taking the time commitment out of creating your social media content so that you can be happy in your time on social media. Take a couple minutes, create content every single day, throw it out for your audience, and then get back to running your business and living your best life. So you're not stressed and overwhelmed, but you're growing your audience, you're growing your community, you're growing your conversation, and you're making more money.